When I came to the point of recognizing my greatest need, my life was a complete disaster. I was a porcupine on but I was a porcupine on the inside. On the outside, I had the stereotypical picture of a perfect suburban Christian life. I had a huge house in the suburbs. I had 2 brand new cars in my driveway. I had 2 kids in a Christian school. I had a beautiful wife of 17 years. And I had all the trappings of the suburban Christian stereotypical perfect life. My inside world was a complete disaster. I could stop and I could commit adultery on the way home from work, like a person could stop for a cheeseburger. I was tormented inside. I was the most selfish person that I've ever known. Everything in my life revolved around me, even all the charitable things. I could go out and give a lot of money to a charity, to a church. I could do service projects, but my heart was never right. Even though I had been in church and I'd been sitting in church with my brothers and sisters in Christ, I had no idea who Jesus really was. One thing that happened was that my pastor had come up to me and he asked me to be a deacon. And I remember inside my head, I'm like, do you have any idea who I am? I didn't say it out loud, but that's what I thought. And I went home that night, and that night I walked around my neighborhood. And I remember walking up and down all these big houses and looking at my 2 big cars in the driveway. And I just remember thinking, if this is all there is to life, I don't want it. If this is all there is to following Jesus, there's all this stuff, I don't want it. There has to be more. And I started crying, and I just remember praying that and meaning that. I'm like, God, if this is it, I don't want it. And that night I had a nightmare that I can't even describe to you. It was the worst thing I've ever had in my life. It was all my sins replayed in colorless, timeless, empty, unfulfilling misery, just turning over and over again, those memories like a worm. And I remember woke up that morning, I was completely pale, I was covered in sweat, and instantly I knew 2 things. Life as you know is over. Either you confess everything and stop, or you're going to stay in hell. And if you do confess, you're going to lose everything.